Well, good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show. ESPN 1059 The Zone. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. We appreciate you listening. Love you. Thank you. The text line has been a heater this morning. Good Lord. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Your SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by Rick's Pro Truck. 3 locations in the metro area. You know it. RPT Commercial in Pearl, across from Muskelly. Rick's Pro Truck, RPT Flowwood. And don't forget my man Casey out in Gluckstadt, Madison County, Mr. Notre Dame. Rick's Pro Truck, RPT, Madison, Gluckstadt, ricksprotruck.com. You know truck, Jeep accessories, SUV. Okay, lift kits, spray and bed liners, tires and wheels powered by RPT. Trucks live here. ricksprotruck.com. We welcome in Steve Robertson coming off a big road trip, Columbia, Missouri. And this guy's a madman. Genespage.com, 247 Sports. His site is on fire. And good and bad. I mean, good for him. Obviously, the subscribers are ready to win a game. But Steve joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Steve, this can't keep happening. The game control and game management's not good. If they're going to go forward and give Levy a year 3, they've got to he has got to upgrade the staff on defense, possibly offense, and you've got to have an associate head coach that can help him manage the game. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I think all of those things are probably prudent. I mean, you know, when you go back and look, and let's be honest about this. I mean, you had a quarterback at Missouri that was not capable of beating you. And you had to kind of put the game in his lap, and they were unable to do that. And you go out and you spend all this money in the portal to upgrade your talent defensively. And, you know, first half of the year, people were just kind of saying, okay, well, we've kind of got that handled. But for 3 weekends in a row, you know, teams that prioritize the run have pretty much run at will against Mississippi State. And what happened Saturday night felt a lot like last year, where you were just kind of powerless to get off the field. And, you know, you get a couple of turnovers out there, and one of them leads to a first and goal situation at the 2, and you come away with no points. And when you have situations like that you don't navigate successfully, you typically lose ball games. But to give up 300 yards to one running back in one night, that's an absolute embarrassment.
I mean, even one of the defensive players was questioning what the hell they were doing. I mean, even if he goes for 150, you win the game, Steve. Which is still a hell of a night, okay? But
sure it is. And I guess like Nick Mitchell was the guy you're talking about in postgame, and you know it's like Nick's like, well, you know, we're not fitting gaps, we're not doing simple things, guys. It's game 11, okay? It's not Southern Miss, okay? It's not week 1, it's week 11, and that's kind of the question that I asked him: is you got SEC players. You know, and so, you know, what's the situation here? How do you plan to fix this between now and, you know, the battle for the Golden Egg? And the bottom line is, you know, this is what you wanted to avoid. I mean, a lot of people felt like this is a 5-7, 6-16, but you certainly didn't want bowl eligibility hinging on the rivalry game when Ole Miss is trending towards a potential playoff berth. And as of right now, they're absolutely in, you know, and so they've got a lot to play for. And you put yourself in a situation where your back's against the wall and, you know, against a team that can run the football. And so, you know, there's a lot of people that are connected to Mississippi State that are, of course, very concerned about the outcome week from Friday.
Yeah. All right. So, again, what does the model look like for you? Because you've first of all, I think Coleman Hutzler and Cliff Odom should have been relieved of their duties yesterday. And I don't know, you figure it out on special teams, and then McIntyre Rhodes take over the defense and one's the play caller. And actually, I think that's your better chance to try to even come close to, winning the matchup battle between Lane and Trinidad against whoever the defensive coordinator is, because this is a massive mismatch, as you know. I mean, Lane and Joe Judge and Trinidad against Coleman Hutzler, holy hell. So evidently, I mean, do you expect any changes this week, or do you think they're going to continue to roll with the assistants that are currently employed?
Well, I don't expect any personnel changes this week. I mean, now, do they do some things schematically differently or philosophically different? I guess that remains to be seen. But no, I don't think we're going to have a press conference today where they, announce that, certain individuals are no longer part of the program. I don't expect that at all. I think you stay the course the rest of the year and then, evaluate the full product. But I don't know if you need one more game of evidence to feel like you've got to make some changes defensively. I think that's evident to anybody that's watched football at all the last half of the season, is that, defensively, you're not at all where you should be. And you're certainly not where you hoped you would be and where you felt like you were going to be halfway through the season.
Steve Robertson, genespage.com, his site's on fire, 247 Sports, talking Mississippi State football. They've got one more game left against Ole Miss. It looks like a 10.5-point underdog right now. We'll see where that line goes. It's a Friday, 11 a.m. kick in Starkville. My grade for the defensive coordinator and special teams coach is an F. What is yours?
Yeah, I can't argue against that. When you go back and look at these last 3 weeks, I mean, when you look at Georgia, you look at it and say, you know what, those guys are one of the more talented teams in the country. The talent differential is going to favor them, right?
Yes.
I don't think anybody could argue against that. I don't think you feel that way about Missouri. And I think this is a golden opportunity where you had a pedestrian quarterback that's probably going to be really good in time, where you should have made them incredibly one-dimensional, and they used that one-dimensional to run you out of their own stadium. And so it's difficult to stand on the table for anybody on the defensive side of the football right now. And I go back to that entire scenario we're talking about. I think, if memory serves me correct, they ran 7 or 8 plays inside the 10 and then get nothing out of it because the battery on a field goal falls apart. I mean, you're looking right there, Bo. Number one, you should have scored and taken the lead. I think we can all agree. You got to find a way to get that ball in the end zone on 1st and goal from the 2. You have to. And then you don't, but you still have a chance to make it a 1-point game. You could make it 14-13. You have this early snap, and they return it to the 28-yard line. So we go from a 14-13 game to a 21-10 game in about 35 seconds, right? Those are the kinds of things that lose you football games. And then you end up chasing the game, the rest of the game. So as a result, you're more reliant on the pass, and this offensive line, I think, does not get enough criticism, to be honest with you. And I understand that we've had to play musical chairs at times, but when Albert Reese can't play tackle, this team struggles to run the football, struggles to pass protect in a major way. And you can't be so reliant on one player. That's the thing that just blows my mind, is that if Albert Reese is out, your chances of losing are enhanced so much. And then this past week, you had to kind of move him around. It just seems like we got to find a way to find some cohesion and some chemistry on the offensive line, because what we are seeing on this offensive line is not acceptable. And it's okay to say that. You can love Mississippi State and also point out that there has been some insufficient play with certain personnel groups, and that impacts everything. When I go back to week 1, my cousin Chuck Robertson won a state championship at Taylorsville, and he kind of simplified it as succinctly as you can. When I can block you and you can't block me, there's no chance of you beating me. And that's kind of where we are right now with Mississippi State.
All right, you just hit on something. Chasing the game. And this has happened on more than multiple occasions, Steve. So what do you envision? You're close to the program. Do you see some kind of veteran associate head coach? It doesn't have to be McIntyre Rhodes, but it can be. And there's a number of guys. I mean, there's talk that Will Muschamp wants to get back on the field. You pay him $800 to $1.2 million to wear 1 or 2 hats. Okay, any number of guys. There's talent all over the country. How do you see this as far as getting an associate head coach, or it doesn't even have to be one of the 10 assistants, as you know, Steve, today, because you can have 48 guys coaching on the sideline. What do you see as far as a guy that is Lebby's right hand helping with game control and situational football?
Well, I think that's a good step. And that's one of the things that we've talked about, I guess maybe it was off air a couple of weeks ago. I mean, just kind of managing these end-of-game scenarios. There are some times, and I mean this, with as much respect as I possibly can, sometimes with Lebby, the offensive coordinator side of him kind of exceeds the head coach out of him. What I mean by that is offensive coordinators always want to go for it, right? I mean, they always want to go, 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 go. But sometimes discretion's a better part of valor. Sometimes you got to take the football play. Sometimes you just need to kick the field goal, take what's available, and not try to force the action. And I think that's part of the maturation process of a head coach is, learning when to kind of say, whoa, rather than sick them and just take what's available in that particular possession. You've got to be able to get points when you can. And sometimes instead of making them stop Mississippi State, we've kind of stopped ourselves. And you swing a pass out to Fluff and he drops it. And, you have the scenario where you throw the pick down the road against Florida in a situation where a potential game-winning field goal seems like it's already a possibility. And so somebody somewhere needs to be in his ear and to kind of help him navigate through all that. And again, you can support Jeff Levy and say there's things that we got to be better.
Sure. I mean, these guys are paid. Zach Selman and Jeff Levy are highly, highly, highly compensated. If they can't take constructive criticism, then they need to go get in another industry or sector. It doesn't mean you dislike them, but good hell. I mean, this is they're not respecting the Mississippi State students or fan base, Steve. If there's not a sense of urgency, I don't sense one. Do you within the buildings?
Well, it just kind of depends on who you talk to, right? The thing that I would say, where I think this is where the Mississippi State administration needs to sit down maybe today and have some self-reflection, is you've got to ask yourself what kind of football program do you want? And nobody involved with the 39759 zip code should feel like we've made sufficient progress this year and this is enough. Now, you've got to go win the Egg Bowl. And I think that's got to be everybody's mentality moving forward. That everything that happens between now and close of business Black Friday has got to be about winning that game and earning bowl eligibility. And it's not just about the rivalry game, even that's always a part of it. But a lot can happen by winning that ball game. And so everybody involved from a support standpoint, administrative standpoint, practice, coaching, everything has got to be about winning that game. We can't say, well, okay, we won 2 last year and we're 5-7 this year. That's unacceptable.
No.
That mindset is completely unacceptable. So everybody involved has got to be committing every resource they have to ensure that they win that ball game against Ole Miss in 2 weeks.
Well, and here's what I said. If there wasn't a really tough, candid, difficult conversations yesterday, then this group isn't committed to winning. And shame on them if that is the case, because the fans and students, a lot of them have showed up and raised hell at home. And it's expensive. It is damn expensive to go to games, especially when you got to take 2 or 3 or 4 people. Steve Robertson, genespage.com. His site's rolling 247 Sports. He joins us on the Out of Bounds show and the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. The show is powered by RPT and Rick's Pro Trucks live here. Okay, special teams has been an absolute disaster. I think, I don't know how to coach special teams, but I think I could do a better job. What in the hell is going on with that, Steve? And why are they here 12 games plus 23 games into this group's tenure?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I think Ethan Pulliam has probably saved them from some even harsher criticism, right? I mean, just because of the fact he is so physically gifted. And, he's a guy that can kind of get you out of a hole. But there's some other times that, you go back to that Texas game. It's like, well, why is that punt not put out of bounds? I mean, why do you give the nation's most prolific punt returner in the country the opportunity to beat you? And ultimately, that's what happens. And then, again, we go back, it's week 11, and, we can't get a snap back on what should be a, chip shot field goal. There has to be some accountability with all of that. And especially as we've seen this year, the parity in the league is probably greater than it's been in a long time. So these games are going to be competitive. You can't give away possessions. You can't give away points. And State has done that on the special team side. And so, again, I don't think anybody's from criticism at this point. I mean, you simply should already be bowl eligible. And I think that's the thing with a lot of State fans. It's like, man, they saw how closely they played Tennessee, and you feel like, we should have won that game. And that's a different kind of pain, right? It's one thing to get beat by 17. It's another thing to have it all within your reach, have the ball, with under 2 minutes to go and a chance to go win the ball game in your home stadium. And then you kind of replicate that on the road at Florida. And then what happened to Texas? I mean, you're up 17 in the fourth quarter, and you find a way to lose. And it's like, that's a different kind of misery than what happened Saturday night. And I think a lot of Mississippi State folks, including myself, felt like that maybe they had progressed beyond that point, that you wouldn't have like that bad loss like that. I mean, you kind of expect that against Georgia in some respects, but not against Missouri. I'm going to give Eli Drinkwitz his credit, but I mean, they're starting a third-team quarterback, and everybody wakes up this morning feeling miserable about Mississippi State football. And I think some people felt like, you know what, that's a feeling I thought that we had progressed up beyond, and we simply haven't. And so now here we are, with the season kind of hanging in the balance of the rivalry game.
And you're facing a hell of a coaching staff, Steve. I mean,
oh, absolutely. I don't like the matchup. I mean, right? I mean, because we talk about this all the time. Football's about matchups. Now, is this Ole Miss rush defense as good as last year's? No, and nobody wowould argue that, right? But I think this is probably offensively been Lane Kiffin's best coaching job of his career.
Yes.
When you look at the fact that nobody knew who Trinidad was, right? 6 months ago, right? And now, he's not going to win the Heisman, but there's some people out there that for a while that had some Heisman buzz about him, and nobody even talks about Austin Simmons anymore, right? I mean, it's just, if you think about that aspect of it, that he has taken a quarterback. Granted, he was accomplished at his previous stops, but Ole Miss should be in a rebuilding year this year. And here they are, projected to make the playoffs with one game remaining in the regular season. If even the most loyal Mississippi State fan has to kind of tip their cap at the job of what Lane Kiffin and his staff have done this year. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But if you're Mississippi State and Jeff Lebby, nothing should incentivize you more than to go win that football game, not just for your own program, but what it does to the trajectory of your program to be able to beat a team of that caliber, to get bowl eligibility, but also to kind of get you some juice heading into the recruiting side of things, because who knows where Lane Kiffin's going to be come January, right? So if you're a Mississippi State guy, you want to beat him on the way out. But, this guy's done a tremendous job this year, and anybody that says otherwise just being disingenuous.
Oh, they're so good. That staff is so buttoned up and so damn good. I mean, what a miss. I mean, Lane Kiffin, Trinidad Chambliss, and Joe Judge and Lacey against Coleman Hutzler. I mean, holy hell. That's like me playing for the Chicago Bulls tonight. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports, talking Mississippi State football. All right, so Steve, let's say they pull the upset. They still have to upgrade the staff and make the changes that you and I have been discussing the last 15 minutes. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, your perception of your program changes within the minds of your fan base by winning that game and earning bowl eligibility. But again, if we go back to the Joe Moorhead era, one thing that Joe said that I've always remembered, and he was absolutely correct in this, absolutely correct. You cannot accept in victory what you would not accept in defeat, right? That absolutely is true. I don't think Joe came up with that, but that's how I think you've got to approach this. Whatever changes that you recognize today are still going to exist, even if you win the Egg Bowl, right? So you can't let the Egg Bowl just say, well, that just kind of washes away a multitude of sins.
Right.
Every year, you should be looking to upgrade your talent on the coaching side, the playing side, no matter what happens in the final game.
All right. Do you believe that he will replace his defensive coordinator and special teams coach and D-line coach and secondary coach?
Well, I'm not sure I'm ready to make that declaration. I do say that there will be some changes on the defensive side of the football, no matter what happens with the Egg Bowl between now and the end of the year. Now, how extensive those prove to be, that kind of remains to be seen. But the reality of this is that you can't. Nobody with an objective vantage point can look at this and say, you know what, let's run it back with the same group. There's no way. There's no way you can look at that. It can't all be about the players. And that was one of the things that we talked about around this time last year. It wasn't just talent last year. Now, granted, you're insufficient. But when you think about how well, look how well that defense played in the Egg Bowl last year, right? That tells me you're capable of stringing some things together, and you can't just use talent as your excuse, right? And I think that's kind of where we are now is that, when you upgrade the talent and you're getting similar results, you got to look in the mirror. And I think that's kind of where we are right now.
All right, what would you like to see with Blake Shapen and Kamario Taylor in the battle for the Golden Egg?
Yeah, that's really a great question. I knowing what I know about Kamario, right? I know we talk about this kind of thing from time to time, right? There's some people that just have it, and it's not just about charisma; it's a will to win, and then you get buy-in from your teammates, right? You get everybody around you plays harder. And the one thing that I'll say, and there's probably some people that won't like me saying this, I just think the team plays harder when Kamario's on the field for one reason or another. And it may be because they say, hey, okay, we got our true freshman guy in here. I got to step up my game a little bit. I think everybody plays a little bit harder when he's in there. Now, as you saw Saturday night, he can get sacked behind a patchwork offensive line just as good as Blake Shapen can. But there's one play in particular that stands out to me that I think shows maybe you got to get him more involved because of the deficiencies you have on your offensive line. There was one drive in particular. Kamario evades the sack and just kind of fish arms it out there into the flat, right? I mean, doesn't even have a chance to set his feet. He just kind of flips it out there to Booth, who gets 7 yards. Blake Shapen is getting sacked in that situation. And I think that's where a lot of fans look at this and say, okay, yeah, it's not just Blake, right? It's not. Offensive line hadn't played well. But so if the offensive line can't give you what you want, you got to have a guy back there that's going to be able to kind of evade some of those sacks and negative plays. And I think Kamario is easily, the best option in those circumstances. Now, if you thought you could block Ole Miss and let Blake Shapen sit back there and play pitch and catch, then that makes good sense to me. But I don't think you're going to be able to do that. I don't think you're going to be able to sit back and play pitch and catch against Ole Miss.
No, you're not. Pete Golding, no. And the problem, Steve, is Lebby gets sped up so much, and then everything falls apart in like 3 seconds on, offense, defense, and special teams. And you know the drill. You know what Parcells said and others. I mean, you are who you are after the first few games. And so, I mean, and like you said, this is 11 games in. Now, I don't know if Jeff has the, if he can set his ego to the side and allow McIntyre and Rhodes and his father-in-law and whoever, I don't care if it's a student walking to class, figure out what to do over the next week and a half. But I tell you that I don't have a lot of time. I got 30 seconds. What if they get blown out?
Oh, if they get blown out, I think there's some people that will spend the holiday somewhere else. I mean, it's just that simple, And that's always a possibility. I mean, especially like if you think this is Lane Kiffin's final Egg Bowl, I mean, he's going to want to leave an exclamation point.
He's tried to blow out since 2020 in Leach. He has tried to blow and somehow hadn't been able to do it and tried to blow Mississippi State out. That was really good stuff, Steve. Hit his website today. Subscribe, genespage.com, 247 Sports. We appreciate it, Steve.
See you, bud.
genespage.com, 247 Sports. Go ahead and get the subscription today. Give it to somebody for their birthday or Christmas. That board is loaded up with content and all kinds of posts. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Lunch today is brought to you by Taste Italian Kitchen. Ooh, vodka rigatoni, or that world-famous homemade meatball appetizer, which is good for lunch, too, with the Caesar salad. Taste Italian Kitchen in the Renaissance.